A man is facing rape charges, kidnapping charges, a murder investigation. Arrest warrants have been issued. Interpol is involved. The courts have summoned him over 50 times. So he does what any rational fugitive would do. He flees the country. But here is where this story stops being ordinary. He does not hide. He does not disappear quietly into some anonymous apartment in a foreign city. Instead, he declares himself God, claims he is an alien from inside the Earth, announces he is building a cosmic airport for alien spacecraft to land. And then, he creates his own country, complete with a flag, a constitution, a passport, a currency, a reserve bank, a national anthem, 18 government departments, and 12 million citizens. A country that fooled the United Nations, the British Parliament, the mayor of a major American city, multiple South American governments, a country that does not exist on any map, on any satellite image, on any piece of land anywhere on Earth. His name is Nithyananda, and what he built is the most audacious, most elaborate, most breathtaking spiritual scam in the history of the modern world. This is the story of Kailasa. To understand how a man ends up declaring himself the supreme pontiff of a nation, you have to understand how he became God first. On January 1st, 1978, a boy named Arunachalam Rajasekaran was born in Tamil Nadu, India. His early life is largely unknown. What we do know is that he had a gift. Not a supernatural one, a deeply human one. The gift of making people believe exactly what he wanted them to believe. He claimed that at age 10, while meditating on a sacred hill, he received his first divine experience. He left home at 17 after the death of a spiritual teacher. He wandered, he studied, he watched other godmen carefully, learning their methods, their language, their techniques. In 2000, he opened his first ashram in Tamil Nadu under a new name, Nithyananda, meaning eternal bliss. His speeches were unlike anything his audiences had heard before. Not because they were wise, because they were perfectly crafted to sound wise while saying almost nothing at all. He spoke of enlightenment, of cosmic consciousness, of breaking free from the cycle of suffering, in language vague enough to mean anything and specific enough to feel personally relevant. By 2003, he had multiple ashrams across South India. By 2010, he had meditation centers in dozens of countries, ashrams across American cities, followers on every continent, a spiritual empire built on the oldest currency in human history. Hope, longing, and the desperate human need to believe that someone somewhere has the answers. 2010, a video appeared. It showed Nithyananda, the self-proclaimed celibate, the man who claimed his body had transcended ordinary human biology, in a deeply compromising situation with a Tamil actress. Both denied it. They called it fabricated. They called it an attack on Hinduism. Nithyananda went further. He claimed that at the age of 12, his body had undergone a genetic mutation, that he was anatomically neither male nor female, and therefore, what appeared in the video was simply impossible. His followers believed him, because when you have given someone the title of God, it becomes psychologically almost impossible to accept that they are capable of lying. But the woman who recorded the video had a different story. Her name was Arti Rowe, a devotee who had lived in America. She placed a hidden camera inside an air purifier in Nithyananda's room. She accused him of raping her over 5 years in what he described as rituals of spiritual purification. The police arrested him. He spent over 50 days in jail. In 2017, forensic analysis confirmed the man in the video was Nithyananda. But in India, where the line between religious devotion and blind loyalty is sometimes dangerously thin, his followers did not leave. They came back in greater numbers. He framed his arrest as an attack on Hinduism itself, and people believed him. His empire resumed. His speeches continued. His ashrams filled again. until the evidence became impossible to manage. The accusations against Nithyananda did not stop at the video. They multiplied. Women came forward with accounts of sexual abuse at his ashrams, abuse carried out under the cover of spiritual ritual. Reports emerged of children being held at his facilities, children who were allegedly starved, physically abused, prevented from contacting their families. In 2014, a 24-year-old woman died inside his ashram in suspicious circumstances. Her mother alleged that the ashram was responsible for her daughter's death. The investigation went nowhere. In 2019, a devotee named Janardhan Sharma accused Nithyananda of imprisoning his 2 minor daughters at an ashram in Ahmedabad. The court summoned Nithyananda more than 50 times. He did not appear once. In November 2019, Gujarat police arrived at his ashram to execute an arrest warrant. The ashram was empty. Nithyananda was gone. He had slipped out of India through Gorakhpur, crossed into Nepal, obtained a fake passport, and disappeared. What happened next was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of the strangest chapter. From wherever he was hiding, Nithyananda released a video. He sat on an ornate throne. He wore elaborate robes. And he announced with complete calm that no court on earth had any authority over him, because he was Lord Shiva, the actual Lord Shiva. And then, in December 2019, he announced something that made headlines around the world. He had founded a new nation, the United States of Kailasa, named after the sacred mountain in Tibet, considered in Hindu tradition to be the home of Lord Shiva himself. This was not a joke. This was not a metaphor. Nithyananda meant every word. Within months, Kailasa had everything a real country has. A professionally designed flag, deep blue with gold symbols. A constitution, hundreds of pages long, citing ancient Hindu texts as its legal foundation. A passport, printed with official-looking stamps and seals, claiming to grant the bearer free entry to all 11 dimensions, 14 cosmic realms, and the nation of Kailasa itself. A national anthem, composed, he claimed, when he was 12 years old. A reserve bank. A currency, the Kailasan dollar, each unit claimed to be backed by 1 tola of gold. 18 government departments, each one modeled on Vedic administrative principles. A university, a television channel, a newspaper, the Nithyananda Times, a website professionally built, visually impressive, and entirely fictional, and a citizenship program, free of cost, a few clicks. And you were a citizen of Kailasa. According to Nithyananda, 12 million people applied. 12 million. He presented Kailasa as the Vatican of Hinduism, a sovereign spiritual nation for the world's persecuted Hindus. The same script, different costume. But this time, the costume was an entire country. What happened next is where this story stops being merely strange and becomes genuinely extraordinary. Nithyananda sent diplomats, his most devoted followers, dressed in official attire, carrying Kailasa documentation, representing a country that existed only on a website, began meeting actual government officials around the world. Every meeting was photographed. Every photograph was posted on social media. Every post claimed another step toward international recognition. In February 2023, a woman named Vijaya Apriya Nithyananda walked into a United Nations conference. She introduced herself as the permanent ambassador of the United States of Kailasa. She stood at a UN podium. She addressed the assembly. She declared that Kailasa was the first sovereign nation for Hindus and that India was persecuting its founder. The United Nations, one of the most scrutinized international bodies on earth, had been infiltrated by a representative of a country that did not exist. In October 2022, at a Diwali celebration at Britain's House of Lords, Kailasa purchased advertising space in the official event brochure. Nithyananda's photographs appeared alongside those of actual dignitaries. In 2023, Kailasa entered into a sister city agreement with Newark, a major city in New Jersey. The mayor of Newark signed the agreement in a ceremony with photographs. Nithyananda's followers had convinced an elected American official that Kailasa was a legitimate Hindu island nation near Ecuador. Nobody verified this. When the truth emerged, the agreement was hastily canceled. But not before Kailasa had posted the photographs across every platform, presenting an American city's signature as official huge recognition of their nation. In 2023, a government official in Paraguay signed a memorandum of understanding with Kailasa. The document included a clause requiring Paraguay to support Kailasa's admission to the United Nations. The official was fired when the story became public, but again, not before the photographs were live. Each meeting, each signature, each photograph was a brick in a wall of false legitimacy that Nithyananda was building around a nation that had no land. A country needs land. Everything else, the flag, the constitution, the passport, the currency, the UN meetings, meant nothing without territory. So in 2024, Nithyananda's followers traveled to Bolivia. They entered the country as tourists. Their actual mission: to acquire land from indigenous tribal communities living in the Amazon rainforest. They moved carefully. First, they positioned themselves alongside the Bolivian president for an official photograph. Legitimacy established. Then they approached tribal leaders with an offer. Help us fight a forest fire. We will help you in return. We would like to lease some of your land. The tribal communities were open to discussion. A 25-year lease. $200,000 per year. Reasonable terms. But when the actual agreement arrived, it was written in English, a language the tribal leaders did not read. And the terms were not what had been discussed. The lease was not for 25 years. It was for 1,000 years. The land being leased, 3 times the size of New Delhi, would fall under full Kailasa sovereignty. Every natural resource, every airspace right, every underground mineral, belonging entirely to Kailasa, and buried in the legal language, a clause requiring the tribal communities to militarily defend Kailasa from any external attack. Amazon tribal communities were being recruited as the army of a fake country founded by a fugitive godman hiding somewhere in the world. Between September and November 2024, similar agreements were signed with at least 4 tribal groups in Bolivia. 480,000 hectares of Amazon rainforest had been leased to a nation that existed only on the internet. Kailasa was about to have land, until a small team of journalists at a Bolivian newspaper started asking questions. The newspaper El Deber published everything, every detail of the lease agreements, every clause buried in the English language contracts, every photograph of the meetings. The Bolivian public read it. The government read it. The response was swift. All lease agreements were immediately invalidated. 20 people connected to Kailasa operating in Bolivia were arrested. They were not deported to Kailasa, because Kailasa does not exist. They were deported to their actual home countries. The Bolivian investigation revealed the full scope of what had been attempted. A man wanted for rape, kidnapping, and murder, hiding from justice in an unknown location, had come within weeks of acquiring a territory larger than New Delhi in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. For a moment, the most audacious scam in modern history had almost worked. Meanwhile, Nithyananda continued. From his unknown location, he released videos claiming the earth is hollow and an alien civilization lives at its core. That he himself is an alien from another dimension, who emerged from inside the earth when humanity needed him. That he is building a cosmic airport for high-frequency alien beings to land. That he will give 3 billion people a third eye. That he will teach cows and bulls to speak Tamil and Sanskrit within a year. That Einstein's formula, E=mc², is incorrect. That he has a plan to approach Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, asking them to give him $50 billion each, which he will return to them in their next lives by tracking their souls with GPS. Every claim more extraordinary than the last. Every video watched by thousands. Every word believed by someone. As of today, Nithyananda remains at large. His exact location is unknown. Interpol has issued a red notice for his arrest. Indian courts continue to pursue him. New videos appear on his YouTube channel regularly. Live streams, throne room broadcasts, speeches from an undisclosed location. He sits on his throne. He wears his robes. He calls himself Supreme Pontiff, Divine Healer, Incarnation of Wisdom. Lord Shiva himself. Kailasa's website still exists. If you visit it today, you will find the flag, the Constitution, the passport, the currency, the 18 departments. But if you ask their Ajatbot where exactly Kailasa is, the only response is a single word: error. The Montevideo Convention of 1933, the international legal standard for nationhood, requires a defined territory, a permanent population, a functioning government, and the capacity for international relations. Kailasa has none of these things. It has a website, a throne, a fugitive, and millions of people who still believe every word he says. Kailasa's digital embassy lives in your spam folder. Its foreign affairs ministry runs on Photoshop. And somewhere in the world, a man who is wanted for rape and kidnapping sits on a golden throne and tells his followers he is God. And some of them will never stop believing him. The story of Nithyananda and Kailasa is easy to laugh at. The cosmic airport, the GPS soul tracker, the talking cows, the hollow earth aliens. But underneath the absurdity, there is something that deserves more than laughter. 12 million people applied for citizenship of a country that does not exist. Elected officials in America, Britain, and Paraguay were deceived by representatives of a non-existent nation. Amazon tribal communities almost signed away 1,000 years of their land to a fugitive hiding from rape charges. This did not happen because people are stupid. It happened because Nithyananda understood something very specific about human psychology. That the need to belong to something larger than yourself, something sacred, something that gives your suffering meaning, is one of the most powerful forces in human nature. And in the hands of the wrong person, that need is not a strength. It is a door left unlocked, waiting to be opened. If this story showed you something about the power of belief and the cost of misplaced faith, subscribe to Historva, because history is full of men who called themselves God, and the world keeps forgetting what happens every single time.